Okay, all right. Okay, well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Welcome to On the Sofa with yours truly, Esther Austin. Well, today with me, I've got several guests. Woohoo! I've got Sister Judy. Thank you, Sister Judy. It's a real
You're
blessing.
welcome.
My good friend Street Flair, and also my good friend Kwame McPherson. And the conversation today is going to be around the theme of Black royalty. And I thought it would be great to have a discussion, um, just a roundtable discussion of people who've come from different backgrounds around what the theme Black royalty means to them. I just realized I said I was going to go live with this, but I haven't, like, it's not set up. So I will put this out afterwards. Um, I will put this out afterwards. Um, but I'm going to just play the a brief promo around what's coming up in my magazine in the next couple of months around the theme Black royalty. And basically, what we're looking at is we're looking at a fresher narrative. We're looking at maybe a newer narrative, a more positive narrative around Black royalty and what that means. So, without further ado, in magazine, the summer issue of Turning Point, Your Lifestyle, Your Wellbeing magazine, the summer issue available July 2021 in collaboration with Street Flair London. The theme of this issue, hashtag Black Royalty. So what does this mean to you? In this issue, we will be exploring a new, refreshing narrative and perspective. This is not a revolution, this is a celebration of self. Time to step into our personal power to enable the collective power. The responsibility lies with us. Great articles, empowered conversations, exclusives, art, culture, health and well-being, and much more. Join the conversation at hashtag Black Royalty. And for further information, visit turningpointmag.com.
It's really good. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. So that promo was done by Street Flair himself.
It's
So
good.
thank
Really,
you
really
very much.
good. Really good. Really good.
So I'm going to now, start with Flair. Flair, obviously, this was your initial concept, and I've interviewed you before. And have you seen the amount of people that's watched that interview? Over 2K now. It's all like, yeah, power, power to the new narrative and the fresh narrative. So, in a nutshell, just give us in a nutshell what your concept around hashtag Black Royalty is and was about.
All right, let me see if I could put it in a different way. It's like in this time, I just think I think that our people just need they just need certain things to keep the self-esteem at a particular level. You understand? So the hashtag Black Royalty is that is Black Royalty is a mantra, it is a way of life, is a saying, is a feeling, is an emotion, is a vibration. So the more that people say this Black Royalty, the more that I would say I am Black royalty. Then within myself, I become different. I start changing all these negative thoughts that I had, all of this fear, everything that even surrounded the pandemic. You know how the collective consciousness now, is plummeted. So Black royalty does that. It elevates the people that is on a level. You know what I mean, and it lets them stand firm within this time, turbulence. Mental and emotional, spiritual, physical turbulence. Black royalty kinds of gives us something to stand up and hold on to. You understand? Also, it's about the reconnection with the past. When we was into the sixth senses, the seven senses, astral projection, these kind of things, when we was more than just three-dimensional beings, working with the five senses and stuff, more in tune with that. Black royalty kinds of reconnects with that, and so like it allows us to not fear our own power, but to step into that power and just see how we develop as selves, as people within this journey in this physical realm. So no, we don't have to be afraid of, oh, you know what, I just called Judy's name and Judy called me. oh, maybe this is we don't got to be that. We know, okay, like, this is how it works, and it's about having more control and more power of self, and the other parts of self that we don't know. So Black royalty is to me is the birth of that.
It's like a mantra, isn't it? A
Yeah.
mantra. A mantra. So the more that you speak certain words into yourself, then it births not just into yourself, but then energetically it becomes your world, your life, and then you attract more people who are vibrating at that level. So Judy, I would like to ask you, what is your perspective of hashtag Black Royalty?
I really share and agree with a lot of what Flair is saying, but for me, it's about wellness of mind, body, and spirit, and it's about having an established connection that goes within, whether that's some form of meditation or visualization, some internal dialogue you're having with yourself, and it's about really nurturing your crown chakra and developing your connection with your most high or your spirit. And finally, I think what royalty is developing a connection with others around you, cultivating oneness. So it's about being of service rather than being in servitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that, being in service rather than being in servitude. But
Yes.
that's mindset, isn't it? They say it usually takes 30 days to create a habit, and then 30 days to break a habit. So, and that's why it goes back to that mantra. Once you keep saying that every day, I am Black royalty, that I am. That I am, the primordial vibration of the universe. I am. Whatever comes after that, we are. Thank you.
Yeah,
And Kwame,
absolutely.
my dear, what is your perception of?
Oh.
Go on, throw the spanner in the work now.
No, I wouldn't do that. No, it's yeah, the same perspective actually as Judy and Flair, and for me, it's looking on our heroes and sheroes who have gone before, and realizing that everyone who had made a transition from the motherland, especially to the Caribbean and into the Americas, and how they are royalty in some shape or form, and taking their example of what they've been through to uplift ourselves in the time that we're in now. For me, it's about, like I said earlier, about controlling the narrative. It's about taking what has gone before and taking that and empowering ourselves to move forward and being enlightened. We're enlightened on various varying levels. So it's about empowerment. It's about enlightenment. It's about as the term is, leveling up. It's about and creating the narrative, which we have a wonderful foundation of, and I'm moving forward and upwards. So that's what Black royalty means to me. It means that we are royal in every essence of the word, even if we may not feel it, we may know it, but we are, and it's a matter of being aware and recognizing that. That's what it means to me.
Brilliant. And last week we went to see Ella Fitzgerald, just one of those things, and her story really fit into this narrative of Black royalty, because
definitely
in that documentary, if you look at where she's come from, and there's a lot of artists where they've come from, especially in the terms of going back in time with segregation, with these incredible experiences that almost debased humanity, Black humanity on such a level, and yet she was able to strive for that. And there was this a bit background noise, isn't there? There was this sense of, she knew what she had to deal with, but she also knew she wanted to go. And I think, they say, if where the people perish, it's they have no vision. And
that's right.
Have a vision, you are prepared to go through anything. And as Kwame says, with all these heroes that we see around us, life wasn't easy for them, but on some level they made this decision. This is what I want. This is where I'm going through to. And especially when they're fighting for something. So they were fighting for their freedom. They were fighting for humanity. They were moving forward towards something. And I feel maybe part of why we might have slipped out of our non-royalties, because a lot of people aren't really clear on where they're going, or actually what they have to offer, as Judy said, being in service to. So I'll put that question out. What do you think of that?
Yeah, which is correct, because like you said, and I think it's one of the things that's, because I'm a storyteller, and one of the things that's important to me is telling stories, and I think that, and exactly like you just said, we have the stories that we were never told the stories, or the stories have been whitewashed, quote unquote, from out of our DNA, out of our knowledge, and so we don't see and don't understand the stories that have gone before. So the stories are there to be told. The stories are there to empower us, and within those stories are the Black royalty, like the Ella Fitzgerald, like the Lena Horne, like the Billie Holidays, like the Daz Gillespie. So and there's so many. There's so many who are actually royalty when you look at it in terms of the journeys that they've been through, what they had to overcome in order to create what they created. You know what I mean? I know you can only be royal to create what you created. That's at the end of the day, you can only be of a particular ilk and caliber to create what they've created, which is a legacy of royalty. You know what I mean? So that's what for me, that's what it means in terms of what you just said, in agreement with you. That's for sure.
Brilliant. And Flair, your journey, my journey, and I don't know much about Judy's, but I feel she's had a similar journey to us. I know, because I know Kwame has been on that journey. For us to be where we are now, I can only speak for myself. It's been a journey I've had to walk on this journey a lot of my own, and that's fine. And I've had to be strong enough not to be part of, I would say, the masses, where when they're going one way, I'm going the next, to make that stand in terms of, this is who I am, and then to become responsible for who I am, and take hold of that accountability into responsibility. So in terms of yourself, Flair, where you are now, because I've been watching your journey for quite a while, and where you are now, especially this year, I believe the lockdown, excuse me, really served you in a very powerful way, because where you are now, you've just gone spiritually, bam, 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 bam. There's a real sense of Flair knowing who he truly is at this moment in time, and you were embracing it, but also you've become the magician of your life. So what do you feel created that transition of, I need to know who I am so that I can move forward? What was that hunger?
See, what I like about where Kwame coming from is Kwame deal with the ancestral side. Judy, I like where Judy come from, because Judy did the reason and the emotional side of the Black royalty concept. My thing though is like, what I realize now within all of this, I want people, and you use the word magician, I want people to connect with the higher energies. I feel like that is, for me, one of the most important things, because I think it's important for us to become like superhuman.
Yeah.
Within not a science fiction kind of term, but more internally, as in dealing, and Judy talk about the chakras and stuff, and working with the chakras, making sure that the energy flows freely through the body and stuff like that, that we could harness energy, and within meditation could call upon the entities and the energies that we want. For me, that is because we see with the ancestral side was really important, and the emotional side is important, but without this extra power within self, it's easy for us to stay within these same places. So it's important for me. The most important thing is to have, I guess I could call it a spiritual concept. We need like a new way of seeing life and seeing the universe and interacting with the universe. And this is going to help us with eating. So we would step into living longer, living better and longer, maybe running 100 meters at 100, 120. This is like pushing the boundaries. So to me, it's more than just how life was. This reset that in this time that they created is they thought they created it, but this is something that humanity was leading up to this reset anyhow, within from negative to positive. So now we come to singularity, and is up to us now to understand, okay, cool, we knew this was gonna happen, because we was in tune with this energy. It's like we knew what the future was going to bring before it happened. We knew it would come to this. So it's taking control of the dream world again, realizing that the dream world is just another realm where we could put things, and we live in the dream world just as we live in the real world. I just think there's certain parts of life that been cut down so much that now we get a chance to just expand and open up without feeling weird, or I can't let my friends think that it's nothing about that. It's about the way that we relate to the universe within ourselves, and then create a consciousness that we could all move and all rise and manifest. That's the aspect of this, the actual magical element, or that connectivity is what I want. What I would like people to be open more to, because as long as you open to it, it just flows through you. It's not nothing we lost. It's in the DNA. As long as you're alive, it is part of life. It's part of you. It's part of us. It's saturated within, the nucleus of being. You know what I mean? And so, like, it's that for people to understand that we are powerful just because we are here, because we are. You understand? And starting from that,
Yeah, brilliant. Wow, that was powerful. That was powerful. And then Judy, I'd like to ask you then, so what tools or tips would you offer, or can you offer people listening to this that would allow them or support them to step into that, even on a basic level? What is it that they can do to access this power, or even to recognize this power?
Okay, I think really understand the process of alchemy and kind of moving from base metal to gold. Just because you're starting from a difficult place, it doesn't mean you're going to end in a difficult place. So engaging in positive internal dialogue, I feel, is really important with all aspects of your personality, the underconfident you, the angry you, the positive thinking you. So really developing daily habits around having daily dialogue with you, whether it's in front of the mirror, whether you're sitting down, journaling, whether it's through prayer, whether you're talking to spirit guides. And the other thing I feel is embodying the characters that you want to be, the personalities you want to be, really connecting to what it feels like in your body to be that strong queen, or to be that vulnerable queen, or to be that king that leads. Really embody it and create the corresponding emotions of confidence, of peacefulness, of love, of confidence, anything around that. And finally, along the way, you're going to come into conflict. You're going to come head on with the kind of shadow side of who you are, the kind of the angry, the jealous side, the possessive side, the greedy side. And I would actually say, don't pretend that it's not there. Connect to it, understand why it's there, and then work on sublimating it and taming it, whether that's through self-discipline, whether that's through exercise. So really, in summary, just really connecting with this alchemic process and just going within and working with that.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. And I'd like to welcome, how do I pronounce that?
Yeah, that's Melanative. Yeah.
Melanative. Hello. You're on. You need to unmute yourself. Can you unmute?
How you doing?
Greetings. Thank you for joining us. Real honor. But I'm going to jump to you now, because we've just had a explanation around the concept of Black royalty and what it means to each and every one of us. And then Flair was talking about, alchemy and healing and all those wonderful things. So what does Black royalty mean to you?
I guess it's just that kind of Afrocentric focus. It's a reminder of people kind of where we're coming from. And again, it's not to say that everybody was kings and queens, but I think it's just to remember that amongst us there is royalty. There are higher places that we've come from, and I know a lot of the time when it comes to our history, there's a big focus on on kind of the downfalls, the slavery, and the kind of the traumatic times. And I think the focus needs to be on the positive a lot more. And I don't think that's to say we should not remember and learn from the negative things that have happened, but I think there needs to be a focus on the positive and moving forwards, and just lifting each other and lifting ourselves up to remember, who we are, and to have some unity amongst us. I think that's what it represents for me personally.
Excellent, excellent. And you know what's really key is that each and every one of us, the energy that's here in this place, in this room, I believe we are on that platform. And, you know, having that platform of support, but also trust and honoring. Because for me, the baseline for anything that I do in terms of my connections, even with myself, is about honoring. And I'd like to ask you, what is your understanding of honoring? Because I do feel that is the baseline for stepping into our royalty even more. What does honoring mean to you? The honoring of self, of others.
I guess it's about respect. When you show honor to other people or show honor to yourself, it's about having a level of respect or a certain expectation almost, and kind of just growing. If everyone deals with each other with that honor, then it's going to be a good place. That's my perspective. I think the problem is when not everybody is of that mindset, it becomes a little difficult.
But then we can be, you know, they said become the change. There's a key word that Flair often says, be the change. So we have to be the change. And then if they come along with it, if they understand it, if they are drawn up into the energy of it, then that's a way to draw people in who might not be in that place already. Flair, I'll ask you the same question.
Yeah, okay. Is he like, all right, we all started, okay. If we sit down in front of psychiatrists or whatever, we could all say, yo, from a childhood, this happened, bully at school, this, that, whatever, mom, probably they hugged me, whatever. But that's overpass, right? But what I'm saying is we all went through, and we all have developed a shadow self that we decided that, yo, this shadow self, we just want to be good. Anything that is negative about us, we want to just shut off, you know? But then it get to that point now where we had to come within self and honor and respect what we have been through already. So the honoring and the respect started within self, and it created a growth within the self. Then from there, when your external perspective now of any other selves outside of yours then becomes you. So you then, Esther, become me, Judy become me. So then if we start seeing one another as us and realizing that we not only connected through the World Wide Web, but we interconnected on a spiritual web, a global network, you know. And if we start to realize this, then we start to grow up now in increments, and spiritually we connect and a collective consciousness that would be tighter. So where Leo said, okay, well, some people ain't on that nor nothing. All the people that would be on that frequency would be growing together, and whoever ain't, then there would be, you know, coming up and doing this stuff, because we all on different paths. But for me, respecting self, then it extends to family, then it goes out to your inner circle, and then it goes in wider circles, and everybody doing that. So then you're creating a network now, a collective network, you know. And so for me, that's what it's about. It starts with us, and then it projects out, and then it keeps moving. You know?
Brilliant. Thank you. Kwame.
About honoring self. Honor for me is like Melanative basically said, and I agree with Flair too. Actually, it is within self that when you respect yourself and honor yourself, it then reflects outwards. You know what I mean? It will show. Other people see you coming from a mile off, actually. You know what I mean? And they would want to interact with the energy or not. You know, and that's what I found in terms of being stately, of being royalty, because I always try to carry myself as a king. Yes. So I see that it would draw particular people towards me, and it will dismiss other energies away from me. So what Flair said is completely true, and what Melanative is also said is true, because I like I said, I think that we're an example of who we are today, and we embrace that. You know what I mean? The universe works within us. The universe works around us. The universe works through other people. But we also have to realize that we had to get to this particular point, and everything is encompassing. You know what I mean? It's encompassing and then evolves, and we are evolving. You know what I mean? We're moving into a new narrative. You know, where some people are embracing it, others aren't. You know what I mean? We're looking to empower, enlighten people, so on and so forth. And as I think that once we, as Flair said, once we honor ourselves, then that will, you know, emanate to other people, and it will emanate to the right people in terms of the joint energies and attracting the right energy. Because not everything is going to be attracted to you is going to be the right one, right?
Yeah,
but like I said, but it's also about recognizing who you are within all of that. You know what I mean? That's what it means to me.
And there's something key about, well, everything that you've all said this evening. There's something key about standing firm in the essence of who you are, no matter what's going on. And all these, what you've all suggested, would help support us to stand in who we are. Because sometimes it's not always easy, but then, like you said, when you start to attract the collective who vibrationally resonate with you anyway, and then that becomes your village. They say it takes a village to raise a child. I say it takes a village to raise the village now, because the village ain't there anymore. Judy, I see you agreeing, or nodding, I should say, not agreeing. But what's your take on that? The village, we need to bring back the village. I think this is what is happening here.
I think that we need to be able to sit with conflict in our community, rather than pretend that it's not there, or that somehow we can just kind of like quickly skirt over it. I think that if we can work with people that we disagree with, or accept that we disagree, we agree to disagree, rather than taking things personally all the time, that would be much better. And I think that we need to shift our attention away from people who don't like us or don't agree with us, and just accept that's where they are, and see them and value them as kings and queens, or children of the Most High, and then move towards people that we can really connect to. But I think also working with conflict is about being authentic and just speaking your truth, not seeking any validation from anybody, just speaking your truth, being happy with that, and being happy to make changes in yourself, and not stressing too much about who likes you and who doesn't like you.
Yeah, I read that.
It's interesting you say that, because this weekend I had a situation which I shared with Kwame, and that was the process that I had to go through. I had to address it, but then I realized I could still work with this person afterwards, because I was very clear about my authenticity in this. I mean, at one point I wasn't going to at one point I was going to just like, I'm not going to work with them. But I thought, no, a conversation needs to be had. And in that conversation, yes, we had it out. But then towards the end, we found a solution. It's always about the solution. What is the solution to this? How can we work better, differently, more assertively? And that's the place that I had to come to with this situation. So I totally agree with you. And I guess I mean, it's almost half an hour already. This is brilliant. I want to keep these conversations short. These sound bites that we can give people every week. And so, I guess in sort of winding this particular aspect down, from a male perspective, then what are some of the things? Because Judy's given us some tips and tools in terms of how to access this greatness within us. So what are some of the tips and tools that yourself, Kwame and Flair, you would offer to those who want to be part of this journey, or who are on this journey?
Want to go first, Flair?
Yeah, you could go first.
Okay. All right.
It's your beauty.
I like I said, I like stories. I love stories, and I think that the narrative needs to be continue to be told, and that narrative is on varying levels. It could be as Judy had touched on, and as Flair has touched on, in terms of what's happened, what's gone before. You know what I mean? Recognize it for what it is, embrace where you are within that story, and taking everything else that has happened within yourself and projecting that outwards. I really do believe that as like I said, that the narrative in that regard, and because it helps to shift the mindset. It helps to shift move the thinking away from a basic level of thinking to one of a higher self aware of thinking. So I think that the narrative needs to be told constantly and consistently, and like I said, on varying levels, so that people can then see what is for them, draw what they need from it, and continue to grow from what is being said. So for me, it's about telling those stories, and it is about enabling people to understand where they see themselves within that story, so they can use it to empower themselves and to move to a higher level of thinking.
Brilliant, thank you.
I think for me now, like from where you say with the high level of thinking, and now within them conversations now, trying for people to project more in the future, to see what systems we could create that would be steady for the next 500-600 years. Schooling, enterprise, spirituality, you know what I mean? Within the family, because men don't like to talk about the issues that they go through, and because men struggle in certain systems and stuff, like it puts an imbalance in the family structure. Some of the women then feel alone, or stronger than the male that should be stronger. So I just feel like within those conversations, we got to create a system now, you know what I mean, and to move forward and to try to come under one kind of thinking, one kind of understanding, you know, and be able to trust one another. Like, yeah, Kwame, let me do this. Let me set a school up. Esther, come and do this. Without sleeping and think, oh, so what if Esther? We need to just put aside all of these negativity and try to move to the future without fear, and put fear down, you know, because that's what held us back for so long. It was fear and a fake perspective, or a blurred perspective of the future, you know. So you got to create a new future now within our minds and within our people. That's what I think.
Brilliant. And what I'm going to ask is if you can all share some of those things that you can offer the community to support them on that level, because what I want to do in the next session is to have some practitioners. Judy, I'd like to invite you back on, and Kwame, we've all got our different modalities that we can support the community with, because we could be giving them this story about this narrative, but then practically, how can we support that movement? How can we support that inner work? And so Judy, if you would just share, what modalities or what therapies you offer or what you do, and I'll ask the same to Flair and Kwame, and then in the next session we'll make it happen.
Okay, so I'm a Smitawi, or Egyptian yoga instructor, and I'm also a qualified and accredited counsellor, and I also have an interest in working with kind of African-centered healing tools for people who are interested in growing, connecting usefully to their pain, and becoming stronger and more resilient and royal.
Excellent. And where can they get what are your details? Where can they get hold of you?
So it's www.judymindspa.com.
Excellent. Love that. Mind Spa. Love that. Kwame, now the wordsmith himself. Tell us about, because I know you do a lot of work with men at this moment in time with your personal story. So we're going to talk about that another time. But just tell us what you can offer the community and how they can get hold of you.
Well, what I offer is the ability for someone to write their own story. So I'm a book coach. I enable people to tell their stories through a book, basically. A lot of men that I've come across, for example, have started to do that, looking at the process of how they can actually open up in terms of their own pain, as Judy alluded to, and sharing that, because as Flair has also identified, that we kind of struggle with that sometimes, So what I've been doing, and what I tend to do as a book coach, is help anyone actually tell their story in their own unique voice. So that's the main thing that I do. There's other things that I do, but this is not the forum for it. So I'll leave that aside. So well, people can get in contact with me virtually by my email, actually. Kwame McPherson @gmail.com, and that's KWAME McPherson McPherson @gmail.com. Mainly, my website has been reconstructed, and I can also contact me on my phone number at 07574 348 043, 07574 348 043.
Thank you. I'll put that one. I'll put those details when this goes out as well.
Yeah.
And Mr. Flair, yourself, what is it you can offer to the community?
Okay. Well, I think what I like doing is people bring in their business ideas to me, and then I created something that they could see that would help them to move forward. So yeah, so people, I help with branding and stuff like that. So I try to bring the vision out of the head and put it in a way that they can see it, and then from there it should help them to develop. Yeah, so I think I would focus on that. You can get me at Street Flair London on Instagram. Yeah, or just Street Flair. You could Google it. It should be all over. I've got Street Flair London, Street Flair Music, Street Flair Limited and stuff. Different things happening.
Just a question, Flair. Were you the one who did the video?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Brilliant. Well done. Really good. Yeah.
And his name says it all, Flair, because he's incredibly, I would say, talented on many, many levels. But then he is, like you said, very futuristic. So he's in that space already of where he wants to take things. So yeah. But I'd like to say thank you to all of you today, because your sharing has been empowering. It's been full of wisdom, and we're gonna I'm gonna do these segments every week. So it'd be my pleasure to have you back on. And I guess what I can offer to individuals, I do energy healing and readings, and lots of, I would say, deep healing work. So you can always contact me at Esther@EstherAustinGlobal.biz. So without further ado, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you. I'll let you know when this is out. And we're going to continue this conversation, because I do believe that as a core, we have something that we can support the community to. For everything that you've suggested, we are here. We are the change. We've become the change. And so we can just now support others to, join us.
Yeah.
Because we are, and also we're living it. We're not just talking it. We are living it.
Yeah.
And that's where the real treasure is. So next week, it would be great to have you guys on again, maybe next week or the week after, to actually share now about how using this alchemy, what's that doing in your life? What have you manifested from that? Because people now need to see the tangibles. Like, we can talk it, but what are they really doing?
Yeah. Sure.
Fantastic. All right, bless you all. Thank you. And I'm just going to play out with this video again. So you know how to get hold of these wonderful people, and all the best. Let's play this.
Thanks, Zach.
Bye.
Bye. Let me get the video up. Where is it? Turning Point, your lifestyle, your well-being magazine, the summer issue, available July 2021, in collaboration with Street Flair London. The theme of this issue, #Black Royalty. So what does this mean to you? In this issue, we will be exploring a new, refreshing narrative and perspective. This is not a revolution. This is a celebration of self. Time to step into our personal power to enable the collective power. The responsibility lies with us. Great articles, empowered conversations, exclusives, art, culture, health and well-being, and much more. Join the conversation at #Black Royalty. And for further information, visit turningpointmag.com.